Jalin Turner stuff. He is a good fighter, but I cannot afford to lose, and I'm not losing to motherfucker.
Give me your best MMA guru rant.
I have to remember the Jalin Turner fight. Finish him! Finish him!
What do you think is next for you?
I want to fight somebody on the top 5, or I want an easy money like Paddy Pimblett, you know? So just that would be an easy paycheck for sure, my brother. You can put my next fight, Khabib Nurmagomedov, I will finish Khabib, my brother. I'm not losing.
What about Max Holloway?
I don't want to fight Max Holloway, but even if I do, I'm beating that motherfucker, my brother. I'm not losing.
Oh, it's 15-time world champion, Demetrious Johnson. You're listening to the MightyCap.
I cannot afford to lose.
Money Moicano, ladies and gentlemen.
Best post-fight speech of all time. Can't afford to lose, baby. Don't think any of us can, especially with how they paying us. Best post-fight speech of all time. In 3, 2, 1. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of the MightyCast. And this guest right here, ladies and gentlemen, this man can't afford to lose. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome RENATO Moicano to the MightyCast. What's up, Money? How you doing, brother?
What's up, Demetrious? How are you, my brother? Doing very good. How about you?
I'm good. I just got done training some jiu-jitsu today, and it was a rough day. But how are you doing, man? A big fan of your content. Show Me the Money podcast. I'm a fan of your post-fight antics, and I'm just a fan of your style. So how's everything going, brother?
Everything is going very well, my brother. Let me tell you something. I am a fan too. I always was a big fan of you. And then you fought my friend, Adriano Moraes. That stuff. But listen, I always watch your fights. I am a huge fan.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I got nothing but love for your brother, Adriano Moraes. And plus, he gave me a knee. He knocked me out. I knocked him out. We finished a trilogy. Nothing but love for your boy, Adriano. He's an amazing fighter.
It's the game. It's the game. But you are the greatest 125 ever, my brother. And Adriano Moraes, he is one of the best person that I know. I know him since I am like 15. We were from the same city. We trained together way before. I was helping him on his first fight. But I am happy that you guys both did your thing. And it's MMA, right?
Absolutely.
It's fight.
Absolutely. Well, let's go to the very beginning. So you and Adriano known each other since 15 years old. So when you said that, I'm assuming you started in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu then.
Exactly. Yeah. I started in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Brazil, and then our gym we turned to MMA. People started to train in MMA, and then we kind of form a team. And until I got to the UFC, I was training over there in Brazil, and then I come to America Top Team. So it's been a long road.
Gotcha. So when did you make that transition from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Because I'm assuming you competed at some high-level competitions, right? Because how long did you do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for?
Not really. I started training at 11, but I was very afraid to compete. That was the truth, because I was doing good on the gym. I was doing good. But every time that I went to a competition, I was getting beat. And then no, So I didn't, back in the day, I didn't learn how to deal with a defeat. And that was very bad for me, because I was expecting to go over there and finish everybody and do good. But I was going to the competition and losing and then feeling bad, and then I don't want to feel that again, so I will just keep training. And then I don't know, I did like 3 or 4 competitions, and I trained 11 until 21. So very, very, very few competitions. But when I was 21, I start to learn about MMA, and then I feel, okay, that's better to compete because you can punch somebody on the face, so that's better than jiu-jitsu. And then I start my career.
Wow, so you're saying from 11 years old all the way to 21, it was all Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Yeah, I did like before the MMA, I did like boxing and I did a couple kickboxing matches, but it was not that much. I did like four fights in kickboxing, 2 or 3 fights in boxing, and I don't know if I have like 3 or 4 competitions in jiu-jitsu, that would be like I'm guessing too high. I didn't compete too much.
I like that. I'm guessing
Yeah.
too high. I'm guessing too
That's
high.
4. Yeah.
Gotcha. So that's crazy because typically, we've had many other guests on the podcast. I feel like everybody starts later in life when it comes to mixed martial arts, right? Like I didn't start doing MMA till I was 18 years old, but I wrestled in high school, played football, track, cross country. And then when I hit 18 years old, that's when I started doing mixed martial arts after I graduated from high school. And what I'm hearing from you is that you started in jiu-jitsu and then you kind of dabbled here a little bit and there in kickboxing and boxing. But then once you turn 21, you're like, hey, I found, mixed martial arts. Did you ever dabble in like Vale Tudo in Brazil, or was it just kickboxing and Muay Thai? And then when you turned 21, you finally went into mixed martial arts?
At the time, like that's 15 years ago. At the time, like people were like Vale Tudo, not much like equipments, not much stuff. Like I don't think people know what they were doing. They were doing at the time, but the gym was like fighting every day,
Gotcha.
every day. I think that's why I think I got tough, because I was not competing, but I was fighting the gym like every day with small gloves. Was like basically sparring every day,
Like shoot box style, right?
Yeah, shoot box style. Yeah,
Okay,
exactly. So every day sparring, and then after that, like I did like some gi, but not wrestling at all. I did some boxing, I did some stuff, but we were doing the things in a very bad way, for your body. But got me here today, so I'm still happy. I'm still glad that I started training really young.
Yeah, I would say because obviously your last fight, I'm not gonna lie to you, I picked Jalin Turner to beat you because I've seen Jalin Turner.
I am a huge MMA fan, so I watch your stuff. I love when you break down fights like the Islam Makhachev and Volkanovski fight. I watch MMA Guru. I watch all the shows, and but I don't get mad with people because this is just opinions. I do the same. When I do prediction videos, sometimes I pick even friends and I say, I think this guy going to lose, and people got mad. But it's just, I don't get mad at that,
Well, that's good. That means you have an ego. You understand the side of it where it's like, you know what? You use it as energy. I'm going to prove this person wrong, and that he just picked the wrong person, right? Like,
not even that. I did a video reaction video just to get views, but I don't care. I don't care too much about what people think. I'm here for money, and if I
love that. I love that. I don't want to cut you off. I was about to fight. It was Adriano the third time, and he was like, "Man, I'm ready to go out there and impress the fans." And I'm like, "I'm here for fucking money. Yeah. Let's not get it twisted. I'm here to collect my check, to get some more zeros in the bank." And so when you're out there and you're fighting, you're like, I can't afford to lose because I want my fucking money, Dana White. Pay me my money. I'm like, I'm a big fan now because you are there. Like, of course you love mixed martial arts. Of course you love jiu-jitsu. You love that stuff, right? But the only reason why we get in the cage or the ring to fight underneath the big lights is to get that fat ass check after we're done fighting, right?
Exactly. So that's what is my whole point. Like at one point of my career, even guys like you or GSP or like legends, you can do everything right. You can be champion. You can defend your belt for 10 times. If you lose 2 times, now you fucking trash. Nobody likes your style. They're gonna say you boring. So there is no point. I love the fans because the fans pay the pay-per-views and the merch, and they help us. You're going to put that on YouTube, and we have a lot of support, and that's good. That's why I like fans. But in the end of the day, it's too MMA is too hard, so I don't care too much. I'm here for the money. I don't want to have to work like when I'm done, and especially like you, I know you work like you work in construction and stuff. You don't wanna remember that days and have to work. So that's why I'm fighting. I want money. I want to understand money, and if you don't like me, that's too bad on you,
You should put it like this: if you don't like me, then fuck you and pay me my money.
Exactly, pay me my money so I can be home, watching MMA, doing my stuff. It's all about that.
No, I
So
think
that's why I don't get mad with people when they say, hey, I think you're going to lose. Okay, that's just your opinion. Your opinion doesn't matter, right?
Yep. No, I love it because I think it's showing a different side of you, right? Because I followed your career when you used to fight at a lighter weight division too. You fight at 145, right? You're fighting at 155 now, correct?
55, yes.
55, but you fought lower.
At one time, I fought 135 back in the day. Like,
yes, back in the day, back in the day, you fought 135. So now I feel like you're at a division where it feels like it fits your body more. And I think you having these conversations after your fights and showing your personality, it's making your brand even bigger. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think it's great what you're doing. And you got me in trouble when you started talking about the First Amendment and the Second Amendment and like all of like the criminals. I was like, you know what? I love money. Money's talking about the First Amendment. And then the First Amendment is the freedom of speech. And I thought you said, I was a little drunk. I'm not going to lie. I thought you said the First Amendment was the right to bear arms. And so I said that to my wife. My wife goes, you idiot. The First Amendment is freedom of speech. I was like, well, money said it was to bear arms. She goes, babe, you're drunk. Stop. Yeah.
No, that happens a lot, but it is what it is. You know, I love the principles that America was found on. So that's why I was trying to like give a message and try to make people understand that that's not for free, my brother. Mm-hmm. Freedom is not for free. You have to fight for. And I am fighting for my freedom through money. So that's what I want: money. I want a bigger house. I want a good car. I want like vacation. I don't want to be trapped, you know, in the 9 to 5 job, like doing nothing with my life, like just surviving. And unfortunately, some people, they don't have the same attitude towards life, you know, unfortunately. But my message to you, people that are listening and are not in a good place right now, you can change your world, my brother. You can change your life. You just need dedication and something to fight for. You know, for me, it's MMA. For you, maybe is a college degree. For you, maybe is dedicate yourself in something that you like. You just have to find the passion and the right thing for your life.
That's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. Now I want to switch gears. We have a common friend, a very common friend, MMA Guru. I thought he was in a wheelchair when I first saw him on YouTube. I thought this guy was crippled below the waist. And, you know, I see he's doing all these things. How do you feel about MMA Guru?
No, I like MMA Guru a lot because I think at the beginning, people were not giving him a lot of credit. But when I got on YouTube, my first video, I was not getting a lot of views. And he saw that and he sent some people to watch my channel. So I'm always will be grateful for that, you know, because he helped me. I know a lot of people, they have problem with him because the way he talks. But I think that's what makes him special, you know, because people are tired of this bullshit, you know, like everybody acting like good guys and they don't talk shit. And, you know, like I like what MMA Guru is doing. He has his fan base. They love him. They engage with him. Like all videos get like huge amount of views. So he's doing his thing, my brother. And I really like his content. And I think he's helping MMA to get bigger on YouTube. And huge shout out to MMA Guru.
Yeah, I love MMA Guru. He cracks me up because he's always, like you said, he's not saying the political things that everybody wants to hear. The channel's not woke. He's not worried about saying something that he believes in and getting canceled, right? Like I go to his channel just to see what he says and his reaction, even his reaction with you when you got hit by Jalin Turner and Jalin just walked away and then you got up and you end up finishing him.
Batter him! Batter him! Break him! Break him! Break him! Money Moicano! Find that neck and break him! Break him! Break him! Let's go! Let's fucking go, Money! Let's go!
Finish him! Finish him! Finish him!
Let's talk about that fight. Okay, you go out there and you're fighting Jalin Turner.
And another thing people don't say enough about Guru. Sometimes he takes a 30 seconds video, right, and turns in a 40 minutes video talking about the topic, you know. So yes. That's very hard. If you do like content, you know how hard it is to find news. And yes. Sometimes he get the small things and become this huge thing on his video. So that's very impressive, you know. But talking about Jalin Turner and that moment that he got knocked almost got me knocked out. Jalin Turner stuff, and I know that's why people are picking him, because he's too tall and it's very hard to find the range, you know, because if you are too close, he gonna punch you first and you're not gonna see. But if you too away, it's going to be hard for shoot for takedowns. So he is a good fighter, but I cannot afford to lose, and I'm not losing to motherfuckers, bro. You know, you can put my next fight, Khabib Nurmagomedov, I will finish Khabib, my brother. I'm not joking. I'm not losing.
What about Max Holloway? What are you gonna do there?
Yeah, I told you on my tweet, I don't want to fight Max Holloway, but even if I do, I'm beating that motherfucker, my brother. I'm not losing.
I fucking love it.
but let's say Max Holloway is a tough fight for anyone.
Oh, of course. I was just shooting. You're like, you give me anybody, I fucking beat him. I can't afford to lose. Okay, let's talk about your podcast. Show Me the Money podcast. Tell me about this.
Brother, it's just a good show that we are doing. Me, Gilbert Burns, and Maddie. Maddie came up with this idea. Hey, what about if we do a podcast? But I know like you doing your podcast, but Cejudo is doing with Usman, but it's more like it's not live, right?
Yep.
Most of the times are like that, and I wanted to do something live, so we have a studio. And because Florida, we have so much fighters, right? We have America Top Team, we have Cliff, MMA Master, so much people that, what about if we do a studio and we start to invite people and it's just having a good time talking about fighting. And like you say, it's very important to show our personality to the fans so they can connect with you. And it's being pretty well. It's doing pretty good. I'm really happy with the podcast. It's very nice. So go over there and subscribe. Show Me the Money podcast. And thank you for the audience, my brother. Your channel is huge. Thank you so much.
Oh, of course. No, I appreciate you coming on the show because, you know, like I said, each time I watch your fights and your post-fight, your post-fight speech, I love it every single time. I'm like, okay, what is Money gonna say? And then when you said that last time, like, I can't afford to lose, I just lost my shit. Even the producer, Michael, was there just laughing. He goes, what does that even mean? I was like, this man can't afford to lose. He's got kids. You have children, correct?
Yes.
You got children. You're probably married. You got mortgage. You got insurance. You got shit to pay for, right?
And in Florida, the insurances are going high every day, my brother. And I just bought a new house, so fuck that. The interests are crazy. We have to make some money, my brother.
I love that. So let's switch gears. So you've been fighting for a very, very long time, right? How much longer do you want to fight? And then what do you think is next for you? Like, obviously, that's you're on a 2-fight win streak. Correct me if I'm wrong.
5 on the lightweight.
You're a 5-fight win streak in lightweight division?
Yeah. Because
my brother, I think it's time for number one contendership spot. That's what that is.
The problem is, on this meantime, I fought RDA, but was on the 165, right? So I don't count that as I am on a 3-win streak. But before that, I lost to Rafael dos Anjos when I got the fight on short notice. But other than that, I have 5 wins streak on the lightweight with 4 finishes. So I think I'm in a good place right now. You know, number 10. I want to fight somebody on the top 5. And then got my chance. Oh, I want an easy money like Paddy Pimblett, you know? So just to...
Paddy Pimblett?
or I just want an easy paycheck. Who knows? Let's see what UFC has to offer.
That's absolutely amazing. 5-fight win streak at the lightweight division. My brother, I think your next fight, you know, we can do the easy money fight against Paddy Pimblett, or you can fight for the number one contendership spot. You become a champion. Then... you know, the money that's going to be coming in when you become a champion, then you can tell, you know, you start negotiating for pay-per-view points, all that good stuff. But damn, 5-fight win streak. I did not know that. Shout out to you, bro. That's fucking hard to do at a lightweight division in the UFC. Congrats, man.
Yeah. Thank you so much, my brother.
Michael, what do you got to say, baby? Come on, Michael.
You brought up Paddy Pimblett, so I'm going to have to follow up about it. We got the Manchester card coming up, UFC 304. Would that be a fight that would interest you? On that Manchester card, you and Paddy Pimblett. But I know Paddy Pimblett, there's been some other people calling him out too, Bobby Green. But is that a fight that would interest you?
100%. I think, like I say, I don't have any hate towards Paddy Pimblett. I think he's funny. I think he's a character. But we know the judges are in his favor. Let's say he lost that fight to Jared Gordon, and then UFC gave Tony Ferguson to him. Tony Ferguson is not the same fighter that used to be. So I think he needs some reality check, But I'm telling UFC, I want more money, to fight in Manchester. Let's have another deal. Let's see what you guys have to offer, because right now I am in the number 10 on the lightweight division. Like you say, it's very hard to get to the top 15, to the top 10. And of course, I want to fight Paddy Pimblett, but depends on the money, depends on the contract. But that will be an easy paycheck for sure, my brother.
Well, the biggest thing is not just ranked 10th in the UFC. It's the fight win streak that's impressive, right? Like, you got to go out there and be consistent every single time and win. And it's not just decisions. You're going out there and you're finishing your opponents. So that has to add a little bit more essence to it. So if you do get booked on the Manchester, I would suggest you ask for a little more money so you cover the taxes, because I don't want you to go out there and get another finish and then, Manchester takes a little more tax. You're like, I can't afford you guys taking taxes. At the end of the day, my man here can't afford to lose.
Hey, Demetrious, let me ask you something. Did you have you ever fought in Manchester or London?
I have not. I've only fought in the States of America and also Asia. So I've never fought in Europe. Yeah.
So Asia, they don't tax you in Asia.
So Singapore, I believe the tax is 10%.
No, it's tax free, right? Singapore is tax free.
No. They take 10%. 10%.
Okay.
Yeah. Singapore's 10%. Japan, I think Japan is free. I'm not sure. I haven't been taxed by Japan yet. But as we all know, the best place to fight in the whole world is Las Vegas. They don't take a goddamn dime. They're like, good job, buddy, Moicano. Here you go. Here's your full check.
That's awesome. I love Vegas. The capital of fighting, my brother.
Yes, it's super easy to get there. 3-hour flight. It's probably 4 or 5 hour flight for you from Florida.
5 hours, yeah.
5 hours. Yeah, and then it's on, the time zone change is a little bit different, but you get the bright lights, you got great food, got great entertainment. It's easy to navigate. So I'm always a big fan of fighting in Vegas. It's the best place to fight.
Yeah. And what about Asia? When you fight in Asia, I know you have been fighting for a long time. What's the difference between America and Asia?
I think the biggest thing for me is, like, my fans don't travel over to Asia, right? Like, to get to Singapore, that's an 18-hour flight. It's expensive. So my wife's gone over there. My father-in-law's gone over there. But when I fight in Denver, Colorado, all my friends, families, they were there. When I fight in Vegas, everybody would come out there and party with me. I would do after parties. It's just a good time when I can fight in the States. But, I wanted to fight in Asia to have that experience as a professional athlete to compete abroad, right? Like, you look at, the best in the world, Rampage, Shogun Rua, Vanderlei Silva, Gegard Musashi, the list just goes on. Those guys fought in Japan, and then they made a transition to America. And so for me, I felt like I did it opposite. I fought here in America, and then the end of my career, I went over to Japan, Singapore, Manila to experience that, right? Because I think as a professional athlete, you want to try to experience as much stuff as you can.
Yeah, of course. That is amazing. I want to fight one day in Japan too. I never been to Japan. I think that's a good place, right? Like, with the all martial arts and karate, jiu-jitsu, and just to know, right? To go over there and see Japan, that would be awesome.
Oh, you will. I think with your style, the way you fight, I think Japan would love to have somebody like you with the passion you have for fighting and the passion you have for you can't afford to lose and just trying to make a better life for yourself. I think they'll love to have somebody like you compete under, in their country.
Awesome.
Okay, now I'm going to switch gears. So Paddy Pimblett, that's an easy check for you. Now, are there any discussions of when you want to fight next, or are you just chilling right now, enjoying life, enjoying the kids?
No, I didn't talk to the UFC yet, but definitely I want to fight Paddy Pimblett or Benil Dariush next, But again, the lightweight division is kind of a mess right now, right? We have we have Dustin fighting Islam Makhachev, and then we're going to have Tsarukian waiting for the title shot. I don't know if they're gonna make him to fight another time. And then we have Max Holloway winning Justin Gage. So Michael Chandler and McGregor, like everything can happen. Imagine Conor McGregor knocks Michael Chandler. He's fighting for the belt. And then like the guys on the top 5 will have to fight again. So I don't know. I don't know when and if Beneil Dariush will be ready. But again, I want to fight as much as possible. I will get back to training next week and start to call UFC to give me a date. I want to fight at least 2 more times this year and get the money, my brother.
So what are you doing between training camps? Like, how's your recovery? What are you doing for recovery? Like, are you doing sauna? Because I know in Florida, you guys have an amazing facility. America Top Team. I've heard only stories. You got amazing athletes there. Like, do they have recovery there? Sauna? What's the whole facility like?
Yeah, they have like the cold plunge, right? The sauna, and we have some people that work with us with physical therapy to like with. But I didn't have any injuries on the fight. I'm still healthy, and to be honest with you, I'm going to the gym sometimes just to drill, doing some lifting some weights, but I'm not doing much. I'm 34, almost 35. I'm getting old, so I'm trying to save up for the camps, right? So when I don't have a camp, I like to try to learn to do some different stuff. So when I have like the 12 weeks, I'm gonna be on the gym like consistently working every day. And plus I'm working with the YouTube and the social medias, the Instagram and stuff. So it's kind of been busy for me. A lot of interview. I never been so popular. Like the fight was like 10 days ago, something like that, maybe more, 12 days ago. And people are still calling me, still doing podcasts. So I'm very happy. Thank you so much.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, that's just you building your brand and people want to be part of it. You do 12-week camps. Did I hear that right?
Yes.
Damn, 12-week. We just talked to another athlete. He said he does 12 weeks. Do you think 12 weeks is too long? Because I feel like you're always in shape. I feel like you're always, in a decent enough shape that maybe 8 to 6 weeks might be able to do it. But do you like to do 12 weeks?
It really depends. That fight against Jalin Turner, I got the fight with 5 weeks. So I'm always ready. I'm always ready, but I like to start to spar around like 8 weeks, 12 weeks. I like to have the date, and then I start to spar on 8 to 10 weeks. But really depends. Really depends. I got a lot of short notice fight during my career. When I got to the UFC, it was like a 4 days notice.
Damn.
Rafael dos Anjos, I got in like 3-day notice in a one decision. So really depends. I'm always ready, but I like to have a good training camp, because that way I can study the films and see what I'm going to do on the fight. But it is what it is. Depends more on the UFC than me.
Well, that's just crazy. Like, you're getting these short notice fights, and you prefer, so in a perfect world for money, you would like to do 12 weeks. Like, hey, we're coming at you. Here's 3 months ahead of time. You're going to be fighting this guy. You would love to do 12 weeks instead of taking the 3-day, 6 weeks short notice fights.
Yeah, exactly. But really depends, because it's hard to say, because sometimes, like you say, you have 12 weeks of training and then you're tired and 5 weeks to go and you're already peaking, right? And then you sometimes you get on the fight and you're fucking tired, brother. Just don't want to go to the gym, you don't want to lose weight, you don't want to. So really depends. Sometimes like this last fight, the fight with Jalin Turner, 5 weeks, and I say, okay, I start right away. I was sparring from the day one. I was doing strength and conditioning, and I felt really good. So I think really depends. I mean, the 12 weeks, I like to at least know that I'm fighting on that card,
Gotcha.
so I can focus. But it's not that I'm gonna start to train like crazy on 12 weeks. I just want to see the name. I want to start to prepare myself for the training camp, but usually I like to spar around like 8 weeks, 9 weeks. It really depends.
Gotcha. Okay, so you like that leeway. That way you can just get a visualization. You start game planning. Okay, this was going to happen. You start getting your body ready for the hard part of the camp, and then 10 to 8 weeks. Okay, it's time to start sparring hard. I've had 4 weeks to get my body prepared for the sparring, and then you could peak at the right moment. Okay, that makes more sense. I always like to ask people because I fought for a long time, and at the very beginning, I love the 12 weeks, and I would just literally burn myself out. Like I said, by the time it come to fight camp, time to fight, I'm like, I'm already exhausted. My body's fucking trashed. I don't care about making weight. And then I'm not as explosive when I would fight. And then it came to a point in time where it's like, okay, I just need to know 8 weeks before time because I'm always in good shape. And then that's where I felt like, man, my peaking is just perfect. It's like I feel good, I'm having fun, and I peak at the right moment. Then when I go and fight, I'm not broken down, I'm fresh, I still have some pep in my step, and I felt like that's when I had my best performances.
Yeah, especially because, like you say, I didn't compete too much, right? So when I was younger, so I thought that I would have to training like on the beginning of my career for the rest of my life, like very hard, sparring very, very hard. But nowadays, I understand that training doesn't mean shit, my brother. Doesn't matter if you, doesn't matter if you go over there and you beat the champion on the training. It doesn't matter. You have to go over there and be here on the fight. So I think if you're healthy, if you're feeling confident on yourself, and if you have like good cardio, you almost doesn't need to train in that hard, Just so it's different. And like I say, I am in a mood that I'm not losing. So I'm not gonna hurt myself on training. I'm not gonna not go to a fight because I'm broke or injured, I will give everything on the fight. And Jalin turned and knocked me down on the first round, but maybe because I didn't get too much punch on the fight, I could recover, and I have this mindset, Sometimes I see people sparring too hard on the training, like giving everything on the sparring rounds, and when they got to the fight, they are fucking broken. So I think that way that you're saying is a smarter way to do it.
I agree. No, I totally agree. You were able to bounce back, right? You got dropped, got back up, and end up finishing him and taking the pressure to him. Here's a question I got for you. Are you going to retire when you do decide to retire? Are you going to retire and live in Florida, or are you going to move back to Brazil?
No, I don't want to move to Brazil. I don't want to move back to Brazil unless everything goes wrong, If everything goes wrong, I don't know. If I'm broke, I will go back to Brazil because the cost of living over there is way cheaper than in America. So let's say I have 2 or 3 homes here in Florida. I could live off rent in Brazil like a fucking king, my brother. But but my plan is to live like a fucking king in America. So that's why in Brazil,
I love that.
It's easier, but in America it's harder, but I work my ass off. I'm trying to build my brand. I'm trying to build my channel. I have been meeting a lot of people that are intelligent, that are smart, so I can learn about businesses and stuff. And eventually, one day when I retire, I can live off that, that I can find a way to be successful and to live here in America. Because one thing that I don't like about Brazil right now is the criminality. If you have a lot of money, you have to be very careful where you live. And I don't want to be living like that. So America is way easier. And I want my son to born here. I want my son to live here because that way I think his mind will be shaped right as an American, and he will have more advantage and opportunities here than in Brazil.
Gotcha. How many kids do you have, and how old is your newest born?
I have 4 years old. 4 years old. Yeah, only one. But,
okay.
But we're planning to have more kids.
Oh, good for you. Good for you. I tell you what, man. Here's something funny. So I have an oldest son. He's 10, and they're starting to talk about puberty. Birds and the bees, right? Yeah. And the school sent home a package to talk about an erection when he gets hard and arousal. And so I was like, all right, Tyron, I want to talk to you before you go to school and start talking about, erections. And I would say, when you get arousal, AKA a boner, that's when you have a lot of blood flow there. He goes, Dad, please stop. I don't call it boner. I call it bricked. When my penis gets bricked. And I was like,
he already know what you're talking about, my bro. Yeah.
Yeah, he already knows what
that must be tough. Yeah.
Well, it's something you're going to have to go through when your son gets, 10 years old. You're like, okay, son. All right. So me and your mom. Yeah. So it's fun. I can't wait to hear the story. You're like, son, you can't afford to be getting bricked and be going after these women. You got to stay in school, get an education, make the money.
Exactly. First, my brother, make money and then chase the chicks, my brother, because that way you're going to get the baddest one, right? So I think it's funny, man. I have been learning so much with my family and especially my son, because back in the day when I didn't have family, it was all about me, right? And like you say, now it's about the family, it's about your kids. So you have to learn that stuff, and you have to pass on your family. So I'm really happy, like, with everything going on in my life right now.
That's what's up. Well, that's why I asked a question about will you move back to Brazil? Because we know we have a mutual friend in common, Bruno. He's like a nomad. He was in Arizona training at Fight Ready. Now he's in American Top Team training with you guys. And I'm like, is this guy what he's gonna do? And then I've heard from the grapevine that he's saving all his money and he's gonna go back to Brazil and live like a king. And so I was like, I wonder if Moicano is gonna do the same thing. So that's why that question came up.
Yeah, like I say, maybe because the prices are going up like every day, right, in America. So, like I say, I want to live comfortably, but I want to live here. You know, I love America. I like, especially Florida. Where are you at? Colorado?
No, I'm in Seattle. So it's all the way across the world from you, Washington State.
Washington, yeah. So, but you train in Colorado, right?
No, I train in Seattle.
In Seattle. Okay. So my whole point was that I like Florida. Florida, the same weather in Brazil. So I feel very happy to be here, and I want to keep living here.
Gotcha. No, I mean, and it also makes sense too. Like if you have a lot of criminals, if you come from a lot of money, if you have a lot of money, the last thing you want to do, you worked extremely hard to make that money. You don't want to have to keep looking over your shoulder. Who's coming after you? Who's trying to take what you worked so hard for? So I can understand that. I mean, that makes sense. What's up, Michael? What you got?
Yeah, so I wanted to ask about a hot topic between DJ and I on our YouTube community page. You're a Brazilian black belt, Moicano. You got 10 career submissions. What do you think about Alex Pereira getting his black belt after a knockout against Jamal Hill?
That's polemic, right?
and Demetrious Johnson, who's on here as we currently film, this is a brown belt. So what's your opinion on kind of some of the black belts that are handed out in MMA?
Brother, let me tell you something. I don't think a black belt means nothing in MMA. Demetrious Johnson, you're doing jiu-jitsu, right? So it's a completely different sport, right? It's a completely different sport. I don't think it even makes sense. Maybe the coaches, they are giving black belts just so people can say, he is my student, you know. But it's a different sport. I don't think you should get a black belt if you only fight MMA. You should train in jiu-jitsu, right? But in the end of the day, belts doesn't matter. But belts don't matter, right? What matters is winning. And Alex Pereira is doing great. He's proving everybody wrong, including me, because for me, when he got in the UFC, I thought, okay, he's a good striker, but as soon as somebody take him down, the fight is going to end. But they cannot touch him, right? They cannot, because and Blachowicz was a tough fight, but he did okay. So 2 times 2 division champion. Maybe he can go to the heavyweight and be the only one to have 3 belts. What do you think? Do you think he should go to the heavyweight, Demetrious?
Oh, I like that idea. You know, right now, John Jones is the champion, and they're trying to, and Tom Aspinall is the interim champion. And, John Jones is going to be fighting Stipe Miocic, and Tom Aspinall has no true number 1 contender, right? Like Cyril Gane, I heard, turned down the fight. I mean, I think if anybody can do it, I think Alex can make it happen. And I would love to see it, because I think, I don't know if Alex will have the speed advantage than Tom does, but I will give Tom the advantage of being the more complete fighter. But Poatan hits so damn hard that I think he could knock out Tom Aspinall, but it's going to be very, very hard. And he put on 32 pounds when he fought at 205. So imagine if he didn't have to cut weight and he just go in there and be as strong as he could be. I like it. I'll tune in. And go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Alex has grown on me, right? He comes out there, hey, and then he goes out and does his thing. So he's kind of building his brand of not being serious, the spiritual, the ancestors, and he doesn't say much. He goes out there and he fights, and that's it. So I've always picked against him. I'm always gonna pick against him when he fights Izzy. That it is what it is. But I'm like, it should be easy to take him down and pass his guard. But he's a black belt now, so it's always something that like he's proven me wrong, and I'm starting to enjoy watching his style because he's coming to mixed martial arts with such a huge background in kickboxing, where he's like, you guys can't even get past my kickboxing because you're not even good enough at kickboxing. You guys can't even take me down.
Exactly. Hey, Demetrious, let me ask you something, but we have to talk about the depth of competition in UFC now that Alex is fighting, and back in the day when we had like John Jones at 205, and when you were champion, right? People say that was the golden era, right? GSP, I think Anderson Silva, John Jones, ever. How do you compare the fighters back in the day and the fighters now? Which era is more hard to be a champion?
Man, honestly, I feel, oh God, it's very hard when you say that, right? Like if we go back, let's just take my weight class for example, like 125. You had me, John Dodson, Joseph Benavidez. You had Henry Cejudo. You had Chris Carriazo. You had Kyojo Horiguchi. You had Ali Bogatinov. You had like that's 7 fucking, and including me, you had 8 killers, right? And if I look at, the 125 pound right now, you have Alex Pantoja, you have Alex Perez, Brandon Moreno, but he just took a hiatus.
Brandon Royval.
Brandon Royval. So you have some good guys, but it's not as depth and deep as mine was. If you even look at GSPs, you had GSP, Matt Hughes,
Carlos Condit.
Carlos Condit, Thiago Alves.
Thiago Alves, yeah.
You had Martin Kapman. You
Koscheck, right?
What's that?
Josh Koscheck.
Yeah, Josh Koscheck. You had a lot
the other wrestler. What was his name?
Josh. He has a barbecue place in Texas. Johnny Hendricks.
Johnny Hendricks. Yeah,
Johnny Hendricks. You had a lot of guys. Anderson Silva, Vitor Belfort,
John Fitch.
John Fitch. You had a lot of guys, and I feel like even today you have some weight classes that have a lot of killers. So you look at John Jones, Mauricio Shogun, Hua, Vioto Machida. Gustafsson. Just so many different big names. DC. It's harder, but I still feel in today's divisions in mixed martial arts, you have the killers. You have, the lightweight. You have Justin Gaethje. You got Renato Moicano.
Let's go.
You got Paddy Pimblett. You got Surukin, Islam Makhachev, Michael Chandler, Conor McGregor. Gaethje said him. Then you look at the 145. You have, I just think there's pockets of ebbs of flow of mixed martial arts where it's like, wow, this division is hot right now. Like right now, I would say the heavyweight division is not hot right now. And for my opinion, my taste, because John Jones is going to fight the lower number one contenders, right? He came out and said that he's going to fight Stipe Miocic and he's going to retire. So then you have Tom Aspinall, and then you have Surgane, and then I don't know who's after
Pavlovich.
Havlovich, you have him. You have Derek Lewis, he's still there. It's just not the same well-roundedness. Curtis Blades.
Let me ask you something. So I will take this and ask you, because very few people can answer that question. But being a UFC champion and being a ONE FC champion, what's the biggest difference between UFC and ONE FC? Being a champion.
Being champion, I'll tell you what, the money's better.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's, for me, when Dana White says, oh, you become a UFC champion, you become a partner. I don't believe that's true. But when I became a champion with one championship, I feel like a partner. I feel like when we negotiate, when things are, when we're talking about my next fight, when I was going to fight Adriano the third time, like, hey, we want to do it in Colorado. What do you think? I was like, I think it's a great place. Let's make it happen. I just feel that I have more say-so when I was a champion in one championship than as when I was in UFC. Like, I was a UFC champion. Oh, you get pay-per-view points. My black ass was on UFC Fox 8 and 6 and 12 and 34, not pay-per-view points, right? And it's always an argument, right? And I think there's other champions out there who might say the same thing, and there's other champions out there who got the pay-per-view points they won and all that stuff. So that's my experience, but your experience could be totally different when you become champion in the UFC.
Yeah, no, I completely understand you. I'm asking because maybe UFC did the worst trade, right? Trade you. I think they trade you for Ben Askren, right? I don't think it was a smart decision by the UFC, but they know the business. ONE FC know their business, and I'm glad to see you as a champion on UFC too.
Thank you, man. And like, you know, when they talk about that trade, I don't think it was the worst trade. I think as for athlete, like the miles on the body, yes, I think it was a very bad trade because look at me. I'm a workhorse. Look what I was able to do in one championship. But then if you look at what sprung from the Ben Askren coming over there, you have the rise of Jorge Masvidal. From Jorge Masvidal, you have the rise of Usman, Kamaru Usman. Then from the rise of Kamaru Usman, you have the rise of Leon Edwards. So from that, they traded one star that wasn't generating any money for them. They brought over, a lamb, and from that slaughtering of that lamb, you had the rise of Jorge, the rise of Usman, and the rise of even Colby Covington, right? Because Colby Covington wasn't big until him and Jorge Masvidal had their big fights, and then Colby Covington ended up fighting Usman. Usman had a good fight with him, and then Usman knocked out Jorge Masvidal, and then Usman got knocked out by Leon Edwards. So I think that chain reaction of that trade made way more money than I could ever generate for the company. And I feel comfortable saying that. But as for skill set, like for one of the best to ever do it to be traded, then it kind of waters down the brand a little bit. Like, do they have the best fighters? But at the end of the day, like you said, Moicano, the UFC can't afford to lose money. So they had to get my black ass out of there so they can start making money.
No, that's a great point. I didn't think about that. But do you think they were planning this, or they thought Ben Askren would be dominant? Because back in the day, people were very high on him, right? Yep. And he got like with a lot of credentials and stuff. But as you're saying, they're gonna profit no matter what, right? Because they use the hype of one fighter in the another, and this is just the business. That's why that's what every company should do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the UFC is very good about giving people an opportunity to fight in the league, right? You look at Ben Askren, he was very dominant in the past in Bellator and won championship, champion in both those organizations, never fought in the UFC. They wanted to see what he could do, so he got the opportunity. If you look at CM Punk, never fought a day in his life. He gets the opportunity to fight in the UFC, makes $500,000 plus pay-per-view points. So, and then you look at the boxer that Randy Couture fought. I forget his name. James Toney. They gave him opportunity to come over and fight in the UFC. So those are all money ploys to see what happens. And I think the UFC is very good about doing that. So I think when they did the trade for me versus Ben Askren, I think it was a good money play and it paid off.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good point to see.
What's up, Michael?
Yeah, so by the time this airs, it is going to be the week of UFC 301 in your home country of Brazil. So you actually train with Pantoja, who's in the main event. What have you seen from him, and what could we expect in his main event fight for the flyweight title?
UFC 301, I think people were feeling that the show was not very good until Aldo, right? Aldo got back, so people got excited about that. I think it's a solid card. Me personally, I am a friend with Pantoja. He's my boy. I like him a lot. A hard worker, dedicated guy, always in the gym, but I didn't like the fight at all. Like you say, this guy, he's dangerous. But only 3 fights in UFC, nobody knows who he is. He's not gonna sell any pay-per-view, so I don't know why. I think Pantoja wanted bad to fight in Brazil because it is his home, right? But I don't think was very smart in the business side because, again, people don't realize how this is a business, right? We need to create a story behind the fight. Like you say, Jorge Masvidal and Colby Covington, they got bigger because of the beef. The brand, the UFC profit of that, they profit of that. But if you see Pantoja fighting another guy that nobody knows who he is, I don't think he's good for the show. But in my books, Pantoja is better than him everywhere. I think Pantoja is better than him on the striking. I think he's more aggressive. I think he's going forward and try to take him down. And I could see if Pantoja finish him in a submission, especially because the guy is good boxer, good jiu-jitsu. I think Pantoja is better. But again, I'm not really excited to watch the fight, especially because I would like to watch Pantoja against Mokaev. I know a lot of people give trash to Mokaev because like he had a tough fight against Paris, but I think he would sell the fight more, you know. But I hope Pantoja finish the guy, keep like defending the belt, keep making money because he's a good kid and he's very, very humble and hard worker. I saw him at the gym yesterday and he was looking ready, you know. 1 week to go right now. He was looking ready. I saw his last spar. He was doing great. So I hope that he beats the shit out of SA. Let's see. Let's find out.
Yeah, I love Alex Pantoja. I've always told people he was a dark horse of that division, even when I was a champion, right? Because he will get close to a title shot and then he'll lose. And then about the time he got to that point where he was about to fight for a belt, I was on my exit after I left when Henry beat me. And I've always loved his skill set. His stand-up, he comes forward, he brings the fight. His grappling is probably his most dangerous asset that he has, and his heart. He never gives up. Right, the scrambles, the wars he had with Brandon Moreno. He even fought Figgy at one point in time in his career. So, and I agree with you. Like him taking on this newcomer who's been fighting the UFC, you know, he's on a 3-fight win streak. That's just part of the business, right? That sometimes that can hurt a champion when he's beaten everybody on the way to getting the belt. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
yes.
Like he's beaten everybody before he even got the belt. And so when he gets the belt, he goes, I already beat you. I beat you. I beat you. I beat you. So it's almost like
some of them even 3 times, right? Moreno 3 times.
Exactly. Crazy. Right. So it's like Moreno was a champion, and it's like the different path to become a champion is always different. And so you think about that. He beat Brandon Moreno 2 times before he became champion. The Brandon Moreno becomes champion. He finally fights Brandon Moreno as a champion, beats him. Then it's like, well, you already beat him 3 times, twice as a non-champion. You beat him as a championship fight. There's not much left to look out in the seed to see who he's going to fight. You know what I mean? So who knows what's going to happen? Hopefully they get more fresh blood in the division. And like you said, he could fight the new guy who's undefeated, Mokaev. Is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
Mokaev.
Yeah.
That'll be an amazing fight because he's very young, very good all around. So we'll see how that, you know, obviously he's got to get past the new gentleman he's going to fight. But I think if he gets past him, then I could see him fighting hopefully Mokaev, and then we'll see what happens from there.
Yeah, and I just wanted to ask, you brought up Jose Aldo. He's returning and he's fighting in Rio. What was that experience like for you fighting him in Brazil? Because when you see Jose Aldo make that walk out in Brazil, it's always just a crazy atmosphere. So what was that experience like for you?
It was very bad for me because I lost, right, my brother? I wish I could say, man, it was amazing. I beat the shit out of Jose Aldo. But unfortunately for me, I lost, but no bad blood. I love Jose Aldo. I think he done amazing things for the sport. He's one of the reasons that I started MMA back in the day when I was just doing jiu-jitsu. He already was on the top. He was already WC champion. So nothing but love. But he's going to have a tough test. Martinez is tough. Martinez is young. Jose Aldo has been a long time away from the octagon. And even though it's going to be in Brazil, I don't think it's going to be a easy fight for Jose Aldo. But people say that he's making a lot of money for this return. He's saving UFC. And to be honest, I could even ask you about that, because once you become champion, that thing, let's say you accomplish that, you don't care about that much, right? Now you have your legacy and now you kind of want more money. Is that true?
Yeah, I think for me, I can't speak about Jose Aldo, but I think for me, and I'll talk about Jose Aldo in a second. I think for me, when I became champion, I had my sight set on breaking that record, that Anderson Silva record, 10 consecutive title defenses. Like that was a record I wanted to try to break. And so I grinded. And then once I broke it, you know, I throughout the whole entire time, I wanted to make more money. Now where I'm at in my career, I want to find things that excite me. Like I've defended the belt in one championship. I've defended the belt in UFC. I've done a super fight. Now it's like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competitions, they excite me. Like, I get nervous. I have not panic attacks, but I start having anxiety because it's something different. And the battle of going through a 35-man bracket, it's like, it's a match after match after match. It's a gauntlet, and I just love the way it makes my body feel. But I think for Jose Aldo, him coming back, I read an article saying that he wants to come back and finish his contract with the UFC so he can go do some more boxing, because he said boxing is not as much trauma to his body and he can do it a lot more, and he actually enjoys doing boxing. So I think this give him an opportunity to fight in his hometown of Brazil, finish his contract with the UFC, and then he can start pursuing boxing, which you're seeing a lot of athletes doing now. You got Jorge Masvidal taking on Nate Diaz. You have Anthony Pettis, who's about to fight on the undercard. I think the opportunity for us MMA guys who have a big name can go into boxing and make a pretty decent check.
Have you thought about that, going to boxing?
You know what? I'm gonna break the news right now. I literally came home last night. I came home, I broke down some content, and I was watching Canelo Alvarez. I was watching him box, and I was like, oh my God, that just looks so damn good. It looks so damn dope. I went to the gym, I did jiu-jitsu. Then I came home that night, and I was in the kitchen. I was like, babe, I think I want to box. She goes, you want to box, baby? I was like, yeah, I think I want to box. But then there was a part of me, I was like, okay, why do I want to box? And then I'm sitting here, I'm like going through my mind and struggling with that whole thing. I'm like, I'm 37, I'll be 38 this year. There has to come a point in time when the athlete's like, hey, you need to stop, chill. You're doing good things. But I'm getting ready for my next jiu-jitsu competition. So that's probably why, like, my body's ready to like hit a hard training camp. And but I would love to box with it. And it has to be the right opponent, right? Like, if it was like Manny Pacquiao, then yeah, I'm like, fuck it, I'm doing it. Like, it has to be the right, it has to be a right opponent. Like, I don't want to box, another MMA guy. I mean, I wouldn't mind, but I want to box like a legend of the sport.
Yeah, I understand what you're coming from. But let me ask you something. Since you brought up that you're 37, like, to see a fighter in his 37 is still competing at high level is very hard, but especially at 125, right? You can see like heavyweights and maybe 205, but maybe you're the oldest fighter to have that kind of performance yet, right? 37, but still competing young guys. What do you attribute to this, to keep competing at 37? Man,
to be honest with you, it's just, I think it's just knowledge and just trying to stay healthy, because it is a lot harder because my body doesn't recover the way it used to. Like, there's certain things that I can't do like I used to be able to do. My knees aren't as strong. Like, I have very tight knees, so my ligaments will always pop when I'm training super hard. And I think it's just knowing how to fight, like, even when I fought Adriano last time, I was 37. Yeah, I was 37. Something like that. I think I was 36, turning 37. And that can't, like, I can't push as hard. Like, my body breaks down a lot faster, so I take a lot more time off. Like, my recovery days become, in the past, it would be like a day and a half. Now it's like 2 days to recover from training.
Yeah, nice.
So okay, Money. This is your opportunity to let people know where they can find you, what you got coming up next. The floor is yours, my friend. Where can they find you?
Instagram, Renato Moicano UFC, Twitter, Moicano UFC, on the Show Me the Money podcast, Money Moicano channel, doing breakdowns. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and thank you so much for the platform.
Absolutely. And Moicano, when you want me to come on show, the money show, Show Me the Money, all you gotta do is dial my number and I'll come on there, my friend. I won't come to Florida because that's a long ass flight. Because I can't afford to just go to Florida and hang out with you guys.
Of course.
But next time when I'm in Florida and I'm competing, actually, I'm gonna be in Florida here pretty soon. I'll message you when I get off the podcast, and we'll see if we can make it happen.
So let's go. Let's make it happen. Like, when you come to Florida, we're gonna have you on the Show Me the Money podcast and talk about some fights and breakdowns.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay, bet. I'll let you know. What you got, Michael?
Yeah, before we let you go, we're all friends with MMA Guru and love his content. Give me your best MMA Guru rant, just something that's on your mind that you want to rant about right now.
No, I have to remember the Jalin Turner fight. Finish him! Finish him!
That's right. What was your?
Finish him!
I can see it's on your YouTube, but what was your reaction to seeing his reaction of how just so much joy that MMA Guru had from seeing you come back.
It was funny because he's a character, right? So he was, let's go, Moi, let's go, Moi. And when I start to punch the guy, finish him. And I thought that was very, very funny. And that's why people love him. He's very, very good communicator, and he does like funny stuff.
We gotta have the three of you on, like, I don't know. Yeah, imagine that if we did like a three-way stream on all. I don't know if it would be MMA Guru's YouTube or how we would do it, but imagine if you two jumped on one of his lives. Like, he's live as we're doing this. He's live. Like, that motherfucker's.
Is he really?
Yeah. He's always going live. So
all the time, and making some money, right?
Yeah.
The donations.
No, that's why we loved his mentality. Is very smart. That. Because we were saying to him, like, hey, we could help you with sponsors. And he's like, no, I don't want sponsors. Like, I love right now just, like, having the community. And really the people are what help his YouTube be what it is. The super chats, all that shit. So he doesn't ever want to be sponsored.
It's impressive because, like I say, like, the engagement is crazy, right? He does a video and go virals every time because he gives back to the community, and that's what I'm trying to do with my YouTube channel, so they can support me and we can create a good content. I'm still on the beginning, but eventually when I become champion will be better.
Nope, I think it doesn't matter if you become champion. I think you being consistent, being who you are, and keep on being consistent with the content, that's what's going to make a difference. Because it doesn't matter if you're a champion or not, because just because you become the champion doesn't change who you are. You're still a good person. You still stand for a good cause, and I think your community is going to follow you whether you become a champion or you're not. And those are the people you want to have in your community, not the people who want to be there just because they're a champion. Don't you ever forget that, my friend. Moicano.
That's true, my brother. That's advice from a champion, my brother. Thank you so much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this podcast, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, also leave a comment, and make sure you do yourself a favor, go subscribe to my boys Moicano's YouTube channel and check out his show all about the money, Show Me the Money podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, we out. Chill. Well, damn.
Thank you so much, my friend.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. This is the Mighty Recap, where we just basically recap what we just went through with our guests, and we just had on Renato Moicano, and I enjoy talking to him, man. He's so personable, very humble and honest, and I love what he's been doing lately with his YouTube, his content, and when he fights. Like, he's 5-fight win streak in a lightweight division, 4 finishes, amazing post-fight speech. The man can't afford to lose. He won't accept losing, and I just love everything he stands for right now.
No, and this will air before our Corey Sandhagen MightyCast, but with both guys, I just loved seeing how much they wanted to ask you questions, and he's so eager to learn, both from a content perspective and just from getting better as a fighter. So I thought that was just cool. I almost feel bad that half the interview was him. It feels like half the interview was him asking questions, and then half of it was about him. But no, I mean, he's a dude that great fighter, but I think it's that charisma and the post-fight promos that has really got people talking about him.
1,000%. And that's the thing too. Like, maybe we could tell like the viewers, or not the viewers, but the guests that, hey, it's a podcast. Because even when I went on Joe Rogan's podcast, it was almost like I got to ask him some questions, right? Because what's the opportunity for the guest to get to talk to the host? Right? Like, when I talked to Joe Rogan when I first met him, I didn't get to ask him a lot of questions. Shit, there's still questions I still want to ask Joe Rogan. So I think when we have guests on here like Corey Sandhagen, Renato Moicano, we've had Robert Whitaker, we had Izzy on the podcast. Like, I think it's a space where we all can just vibe out and just shoot the shit and talk about stuff. Because for me, I have questions. Like, if I came from Brazil and I came to America and I'm making all this money, I'm going to move back to Brazil and buy a big ass, mansion. But like he said, he doesn't like the criminality over there, where it's like, I don't want to be looking behind my back. I find that fascinating because there are some guys, like, I wonder, does Jose Aldo have to experience that? I know Vitor Belfort in the past says, I'm bringing my kids out of Brazil because I just don't think Brazil is the best place to raise children. But you have a guy like Patricio Pitbull, who lives like a king over there. So I like to get both sides of like what their experience is in Brazil.
No, and I agree with that because I think of it from if I was Brazilian, and you brought him up, my good friend Bruno Silva, shout out to him. He's now ranked flyweight. Hopefully he gets a fight soon. But I was with him in Brazil, and I spent some time with the pit bulls. And that Patricio Pitbull, he just has a beautiful lake house in Natal, Brazil. So I was thinking in my mind, like, shit, if I'm Brazilian, all these women, if I speak Portuguese, like, I'm gonna be here because the money goes a lot further than it does in, Florida. But on the flip side, I've seen just so many MMA fighters migrate there, which, you're seeing Gilbert Burns there, Pantoja. So I actually, when you asked that, I was curious what he said. And for someone that, he's Money Moicano, but he's actually someone who's very smart about financials and that stuff, I was a little bit surprised that he wouldn't just be like, oh yeah, man, I'm going to go to Brazil, get, my UFC money's going to go a lot further there. But no, he seems like he wants to kind of live in Florida and settle down there.
Well, I mean, especially I guess safety and not having looking over your back and the criminality goes a long way, right? I mean, granted, it's harder to make a living in America than it is in some other countries where the money goes further there. But, I couldn't imagine, he grew up there, so he knows what it's like. And to try to raise his kid there, maybe he doesn't want to have to go through that same type of mentality he went through for his son. He wants him to have that sharp mentality of an American, I believe. So, but man, like, I did not know he was on a 5-fight win streak. That's what I love about doing these talks, because there's so many fighters out there. There's so many we only could watch so many, but 5-fight win streak, like, he's got to be coming up with like, maybe 2 more fights he fights for the belt. But I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah, if we run through his sure dog. So we have Jai. So right now he has won 5 of 6, as he said. So he has Jai Herbert, who he finished by submission. I don't know if you remember him, but Herbert.
Yep, Jai Herbert. He also got knocked out by
exactly. Then Alexander Hernandez, he also submit him. Then this was the fight that he was talking about, RDA, short notice, 165 pounds. Lost that by decision, which there's no shame at all in losing to someone like RDA.
He took it on 3 days notice, 4 days notice.
Yeah, exactly. And then his last 3 has been Brad Riddell, who actually was out there when I was with Kelvin training in Thailand. So he submit him in the first round. Drew Dober, who's just like tough as shit, and a ton of power. Has just, as you see his jaw, Drew Dober's jaw's just like, just looks like Hercules. So yeah, he beat him by decision. And then Jalin Turner, which, like, Turner is the size, when you see him, I forgot you saw Jalin Turner in person. He probably looked similar to Israel Adesanya to you. Like, it was probably like looks basically the same. And
He's not 6'4", but when you're 5'3", he did look fucking massive. So yeah, I hear you. No.
So Moicano, oh no, he's listed at 6'3". Holy shit! I mean, that's on
Jalin
Turner.
Oh my god,
he's just massive. I mean, that was so. You're talking
6'3".
about that. That was fucking impressive with Moicano, which we didn't get the chance to ask him, but there was the 300,000 bonuses, obviously for UFC 300, but it was such an historic card where if that was a normal pay-per-view, he's probably getting a bonus for that comeback win. But there was no chance to get on there. But I do feel bad because that was easily a performance-worthy performance, but a bonus-worthy performance, but that was one of the most stacked cards.
I'm sure they probably slid him something after the event. It might not have been 300,000, but I wouldn't be surprised if they slid him like $50,000 to $75,000. The UFC does that time to time, right? Like there's been times I got bonuses behind closed door, and even Makayev, he just said he got a bonus or whatnot. So some of the fighters try not to announce it all the time because we don't want people knowing how much money we are making.
Yeah, and I wish I also asked him a little bit more about post-fight promos because, I'm the big wrestling fan. I'm even here. I happen to be wearing a wrestling shirt right now. But I think it's just so fighters overlook how important that post-fight promo is. Like, you'll see a lot of fighters win, and then you could tell they didn't plan one thing they were going to say. And Chael Sonnen is very big on this. He always says, if you don't have something planned, like, that is a huge mistake. So clear either Moicano is just amazing on the spot, or he's thinking in a way where if I win, I'm gonna cut this promo here.
Well, I think about you look at the past, right? Like before Chael Sonnen, there was somebody who really cut promos, right? When Anderson Silva win his fights, he wouldn't cut a promo. When GSP win his fights, he wouldn't cut promos. Shit, even hell, Brock Lesnar, when he win his fights, he wouldn't cut promos. You basically say, I'm gonna go home and jump in my wife's sable.
That's one of the greatest promos of all time.
Yeah, I know. It's a great promo, but it's more of like not like directing it towards like anything, like where Moicano is like, you motherfuckers, I want my money, you sons of bitches, I can't afford to lose Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's coming on the fucking Show Me the Money podcast, yeah, like it's totally different to where, Chael Sonnen, when he did it, he was like, Anderson Silva, you absolutely suck, I will beat you, from 2 days. It's a little bit different. So from my upbringing, watch people like Uriah Faber never did promos. Jose Aldo never did promos.
Did you even have one notable promo? I can't think of any. Was there one time you kind of tried to do something a little different, or is it?
Yeah, I did. So I remember when I fought Ray Borg. He was like, "Oh man, I'm gonna destroy you." It was nice. It must have been nice to be a champion. And I was like, yeah. Well, ask your buddy John Dotson how did that play out for him. And he goes, I'm not John Dotson. I was like, that's the problem. You're not athletic like he is, so it's gonna be very hard for you to beat me. I said that, and then I remember at one of the promos, they were like, hey DJ, you need to go up to 135, and I was like,
I already told Dana White I need 7 figures. I need $1 million payday. I'm out here whooping and cleaning it up. But next time we step in octagon, we break it.
We break the record! And I threw the mic and I left. But at the time, remember before you said you and your brother you guys were hate on me. You guys want to watch my pay-per-views.
It's still a discussion I have with my brother like all the time, because I think, and it's crazy. It makes me realize how long you've been fighting that I can even reference that I was like young and immature when you were fighting, but it really is the case, because we would just watch and be like, oh yeah, flyweight main eventing. But I think it was more of like you were so like such a it was kind of what you were talking about with Moicano. He asked you about, hey, what's the competition flyweights when you were fighting versus right now? And I think the way bigger thing was the difference was so different between you and everyone else, like not just sucking up to you, but it was such a huge difference that you're not getting these Moreno Figueiredo where everyone's a war, or even Pantoja Moreno where those are really competitive fights. It was mostly you just like whooping guys' asses until Henry came there, which even then you knocked him out first. So I think that was the bigger thing, was the difference between 1 and 2 was just so high at the time. And small motherfuckers also. Yeah, and I can't knock people. I'm the same size as you.
Yeah, it's
okay,
harder.
Alex Pereira punching someone versus 125. Like there's nothing you could do about that. You're not going to just flash knock out people at 125.
Yeah, it's very rare. It happens, but it's very rare. And I'm not saying my era was bigger or we were better athletes. I think in my era, we had bigger names, right? Like, if you look at the popularity of the flyweight division and the names, like Joseph Benavidez, Team Alpha Boy, Ian McCall, I forgot to mention him earlier in the podcast, Uncle Creepy, he had a big following. Ali Bogotinov, big following from, Russia. Kyojo Horiguchi from Japan, very big name. Who else am I missing? John Dotson, the magician, very big name. Those guys had huge followings, and some of these guys are even still fighting. You look at Kyojo Horiguchi, he's about to fight Sergio Pettis. You look at John Dotson, he just fought in bare knuckle fighting. Joseph Benavidez, he's retired. Ian McCall, I think I just saw he just did a grappling match. Ali Bogotinov, I believe he retired. So that's what I mean. Like if I were to go to today's flyweight division, you look at Alex Pantoja, he beat pretty much everybody before he even became the champion. So now he's beat the top 10 contenders. Now when he fights as a champion, he has to fight these newcomers, because he's already beat the champion, the other guys, and that's why he's fighting this guy who's not even, he just got into the UFC. Not saying, Steve can't beat Alex Pantoja, but as for a business standpoint, like Moicano said, is that it doesn't make sense. But granted, Brandon Moreno's taking this time away from the division. Figgy went up to 135, so he's not eligible. So you have, Matthias, he's about to fight. You have Manuel Cape. Cape can't make fucking weight. He keeps on missing it. So it's a very hard. Pantoja is going to be in a very hard situation here pretty soon, because once he beats Eric and once he beats Mokaev, who else is left for him to fight in the flyweight division? It's almost like things are becoming, history is about to repeat itself. You have a dominant champion who's beaten everybody before he became the champion, and now if he beats these two other guys, who is he going to fight next?
No, and you just reminded me also of one of my favorite parts of the Moicano podcast was when I asked him about his teammate Alexander Pantoja, who trains them out in Florida. It was an opportunity for him to try to sell this pay-per-view as more than what it is, but he was kind of had to be one of the people, which many people are going to be saying about this UFC 301 card, of being like, I'm just being honest, this isn't a great fight. I was very surprised to hear that from him, because it's what makes Moicano so awesome, is the honesty. But I don't know about you, but I was surprised he didn't try to okay, I'm going to really sell this huge main event, Pantoja versus Steve Erceg. It was more of like, yeah, I don't know if I was him, I wouldn't have really accepted this fight.
Well, I think the biggest thing is I don't think Moicano even knows who Steve is, right? So I think he was speaking the honest truth, even though he is Pantoja's boy, and he gave Pantoja big praises and whatnot, but, Moicano is looking at it as a money business standpoint, where he was like, dude, like, you're a champion, you get pay-per-view points. And, we've had this discussion before on the channel, on the YouTube channel, is that, you're going to make the most bang for your buck on the pay-per-view points is when you get on a stacked-ass card like UFC 300 or UFC 303 with Michael Chandler versus Conor McGregor. And as a champion, I think you deserve to have that opportunity to make it, because people like Joanna Jacek, she was on a Conor card and she got pay-per-view points. She was set, even though she could sell a pay-per-view card, but she can't sell like a Conor McGregor card, right? Or a Nate Diaz versus Conor McGregor. Like, you get on one of those, like, you're just set. Like Tyron Woodley, when he got on that card with Eddie Alvarez versus Conor McGregor, like, it was an extra like $1.5 million check on top of his check. Like, viewers, like, let me remind you, you get your base salary of $500,000 as a champion. This is, I don't know what it is now, $500,000, and then you get pay-per-view points. So imagine you just spot, and this is back in the Reebok day, so I'm going to take it back in the day. A lot of you guys just got to this channel. You become champion, you get $500,000. You also get Reebok money, which is $40,000 on top of that. So you're guaranteed $540,000. Let's say you fight on a Conor McGregor card and it does like a 1.5, 1.8 million pay-per-views. Now you just get an extra check for like $1.2 to $1.5 million. So now your purse went from $540,000 to like $2.3, $2.6 million. It's a huge drastic. Now imagine if you do that 3 times. I defended about 11 times. Imagine the math that you do the math of that. I would have been made $20 million if I made $2 million each time I fight. Like, it's just, that's why champions, they need to fight for the pay-per-view points and fight for a stacked card. Like, that's what you want to do. So, but all in all, like, I thought it was a good episode with Moicano.
Yeah, just to get the topic back on Moicano, who would you like to see him fight next? I know we brought up Paddy, but at least for me personally, I would kind of rather see Bobby Green get that Paddy fight. But is there anyone else? Like, let's go through, just to make it easier. Let's pull up some of the lightweights, and we'll see who might fit in there. So right now, Moicano's ranked 10th. So we got Dan Hooker 11th. Does Dan Hooker have a fight coming up?
Not that I know of. I know he's got a big ass tattoo on his chest.
He has the worst tattoos. I know. Izzy said like, "Oh, you love Dan Hooker, so I don't want to." I guess I'm not seeing any Dan Hooker fight. Shit, I would fucking love that. If you, I might have just found it. Right
Anybody that Moicano fights is always gonna be good. Like, Moicano versus Bobby Green.
Oh, wait, what the fuck? How'd we not ask about this? The first thing I see when I Google Dan Hooker claps back at Renato Moicano. You're the easiest money I've ever seen in my life, you chinless scumbag. Let's get Moicano back.
Moicano, money, come back now.
Okay, that's the fight then. Shit, I wish we asked about that.
I think they make that fight right there. I mean, anybody in Moicano fights is always going to be a banger because he always comes out there and he has that mindset that he cannot afford to lose. And I think that goes a long way. So whoever he decides to fight next, I'm going to watch. The Bobby Green fight's good. Whoever he decides to fight, it's going to be good. If you guys enjoyed this mighty recap of Moicano, please leave a like, subscribe. Also, hit the fucking bell to when we go live. I am your host, Demetrious Johnson. That's my co-host, producer, Michael Wandover. We'll see you guys in the next one. Cheer, well, damn.